The FBI now has a more detailed description of the suspected killer.
This guy is a monster. He's a coward.
It's the unthinkable crime that haunted Fort Wayne, Indiana for 3 decades.
A big break in a decades-old cold case.
Until a clue hidden in a genetic code landed a suspected child murderer behind bars.
The abduction and death of 8-year-old April Tinsley has haunted this community for over 30 years.
The arrest, part of a new wave of crime solving, linking DNA with genealogy to hunt the most violent offenders. 1988, a killer on the loose, taunting police, threatening to strike again. The face of an innocent young girl thrust into the national spotlight. 8-year-old April Tinsley going to play at a friend's house, but never making it home. Little April kidnapped, raped, and strangled, her body dumped in a ditch.
I think about April often. I carried her picture in my wallet for a long, long time.
The case baffling authorities, the mysterious killer inflicting more fear, leaving rambling, misspelled messages, authorities say, like this carving on a barn door 2 years after the murder. I kill 8-year-old April. I will kill again. Then, in 2004, according to police, more notes left at the homes of other young girls, reading, "Hi, honey, I've been watching you. You are my next victim."
How chilling are the details of this case?
I can assure you that anyone who worked on this case has been haunted by it.
Investigators say DNA from some of those notes matched DNA found at the crime scene. With a madman nowhere to be found, police putting out this composite sketch based on his DNA profile.
I was part of this investigation when it started, and there has not been a day, a month, or a year that has gone by without someone in this room working on this case.
But for decades, nothing.
There's got to be a bright spot. It's going to come someday. And then there's moments you have like, this is never going to be solved.
Then, on Sunday, a stunning development.
30 years. 30 years this family has waited for answers. And on Sunday, we were able to give them some of those answers.
Police taking 59-year-old John D. Miller into custody at this mobile home park where he lived, about 6 miles from where April's body was found.
I know he had a bad temper. He'd always be outside cussing and swearing, throwing stuff.
Investigators say they asked Miller if he knew why he was being questioned. His response? April Tinsley. Then, according to police, a confession.
How critical is that confession in the case?
The DNA is still going to be the most important piece of evidence in this case. You combine that with the confession, and it's hard to figure out exactly what his defense is going to be.
Today is a big win for law enforcement, and this investigation illustrates the dogged determination of the investigators who never wavered, never gave up, and kept moving forward for the last 30 years.
I can't tell you how happy I am for Janet that she finally has some closure to this. I know it's still going to, haunt her the rest of her life every day, but I am so happy that she can finally rest a little bit knowing that he is finally caught.
The break, police say, thanks to a new cutting-edge tool combining the power of DNA, genealogy, and the internet. Creating a genetic profile from crime scene DNA, authorities say they uploaded it to a public database called GEDmatch, leading police to identify relatives, then zeroing in on a suspected killer, John Miller. Investigators later recovering a DNA sample from Miller's trash. That, they say, tied him to April's murder.
Is there any concern about the legality of that, digging through somebody's trash?
The Supreme Court specifically ruled on, can police use evidence that they find in someone's garbage? And the answer is typically yes. If you're discarding your garbage outside of your home, you're pretty much giving up an expectation of privacy associated with that trash.
This is the 5th case that has been announced in which we were able to help investigators determine who the suspect is.
Genetic genealogist Cece Moore made a name for herself, connecting families to long-lost relatives.
The power of genetic genealogy is tremendous. I've seen it for many years in its ability to reunite families, and it's just as powerful for law enforcement.
Now she's working with a lab in Virginia and law enforcement attempting to solve the most challenging cold cases, like the Tinsley murder.
We were able to use genetic genealogy to narrow it down to 2 brothers. Once we get to that point, we turn it over to law enforcement, and they have to investigate those brothers and determine which one is most likely the suspect.
John Miller's brother, who did not want to be shown on camera, says he too was interrogated by police.
And they questioned me for about an hour and a half, plus they took my DNA.
He now says he wants nothing to do with his brother.
As far as I'm concerned, when they told me that he confessed to this crime, my brother died. I'm done.
The murder of little April Tinsley, just the latest in a series of high-profile cases, cracked, investigators say, using the same cutting-edge technique.
The new DNA technology is just a wonderful thing.
The first to make worldwide headlines, the so-called Golden State Killer, an elusive criminal whose reign of terror across California in the 70s and 80s, police say included threatening phone calls to his victims. But in April, investigators say that GEDmatch website helped lead to the arrest of 72-year-old Joseph D'Angelo, the former police officer now charged with a dozen murders, suspected of committing more than 50 rapes. And just last month, according to police, DNA left on a restaurant napkin, busting open the 1986 unsolved murder of 12-year-old Michelle Welch. Officers arresting 66-year-old Gary Hartman. He's pleaded not guilty.
Today, we're at a point where if you're a criminal and you've left your DNA at the scene, you might as well turn yourself in now.
Then days later, across the country in Pennsylvania, a popular DJ arrested in a 25-year-old cold case, the murder of teacher Christy Murack in 1992. Investigators using genetic genealogy to track 49-year-old Raymond Rowe, then lifting a DNA sample from his water bottle and chewing gum. Rowe charged with homicide. Law enforcement agencies across the country are now hoping to use the new technology to solve their cases.
My work has always revolved around families and trying to help provide closure.
And for the families of those murder victims, fresh hope following decades of unanswered questions.
You know, somewhere up there, there's a little girl dancing with her angels. She's celebrating. So when you get on your knees tonight and you talk to her in your dreams and prayers, tell her they did it. They did it, and we got them.
For Nightline, I'm Whit Johnson.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.